Hello and welcome to our presentation on sensory methods for studying social ecological systems. So, what are sensory methods? It is a group of methods to further integrate embodied knowledge, which means involving the senses and emotions, in sustainability science. So this collaborative research methodology can be used in phase 0, before the beginning, to scope the system and connect to other members of the team, as well as the system under investigation, emotionally, for example. It is beneficial to overcome the mind and body dualism by including knowledge that is embodied, that is place-based and multisensory. The sensory practices are based on theoretical foundations of embodied knowledge, corazonar, which means reasoning with the heart, sentipensar, which means sense thinking, soma aesthetics, emotional literacy, and relational values. Now on to the reasons and context to engage sensory methods. They're useful in highly contested or complex socio-ecological contexts that may be misunderstood and might require multiple perspectives. Sensory methods ground a project in place, current conditions, and challenges and opportunities. It can amplify or give voice to both humans and non-humans in a system. And it helps to identify challenges, needs, and beliefs for the entire group, but it also shows you divergences. Now we're going to show you a couple of examples. First up, we have the Ocean Senses Activity Book, which is an interdisciplinary and co-created learning resource. It was designed to create spaces in which emotional connection to the oceans can be fostered. It was developed during a research expedition to the Arctic by researchers from diverse backgrounds in concert with their data collection activities. The resource facilitates experiential learning using the human senses, meaning touch, sight, smell, hearing, and also taste. So it is a full multisensory approach. The activities are immersive, interactive, and inclusive. For example, by being accessible to people with disabilities, maybe neurodivergence, or no previous knowledge of the topic. The learning that results from the activities is very effective and meaningful, but also memorable, since it engages body and mind in tandem.
The next example is mapping territory through the flower, reconnecting with the territory and learning how plants are evaluated through cooking and eating, evoking the flowers and memory found in the territory. The process engages a variety of senses from the walks to recollect ingredients to touching and smelling plants and the seeds in food preparation. Is a multi-generational experience.
Our next example, touching memories in futures. In here, there's an incorporation of textile practices, as in embroidery, to express narratives through thread and needle of personal and place-based relations with non-humans and entire socio-ecological systems. Some of the qualities that the embroidery practices affords is repetition. The repetition and consistency of movements allows people to take time to meet and think in an introspective way, but then also to engage in a dialogue collectively. So on the expected outcomes of this group of methods, it allows for personal and collective framing of the issue, helps with making sense of what it means to have a connection with place. It helps us gaining an understanding of one's and others' relations to socio-ecological systems, and then also vindicates ancestral, tacit, and place-based knowledges, making them visible, acceptable, and contestable to Western scientific and technological knowledge. It also helps us to have a dialogue regarding the entanglements of these various forms of knowledge, and it fosters collective learning and deepening understanding. For the resources needed, a facilitator to guide the sensing and reflecting processes with a group of willing participants who have access to the socio-ecological systems being studied, either synchronously or asynchronously. Participants may also need physical or conceptual tools to perceive and collect information with the systems. This could be cameras, prompts, collection bags, ingredients for recipes, and so on and so forth.
Reflecting a bit on what a facilitator offers to this process, it's important that the facilitator can offer both pacing and attention to time and timing as needed in this process. The facilitator can offer care and guidance to ensure that what is happening in the sensing methods meets the need of the group. We suggest that the facilitator remain flexible and open to improvisation if needed. We found it's helpful to start with a script to guide a group in this process, but then be open to changing it as needed. The facilitator overall holds a space for listening amongst the participants, creating what is ideally an experience that's inherently valuable and motivating for participants to participate in, but the facilitator may also offer gifts to them to thank them for their time. In conclusion, reflecting on this method, we find that it does the following things very well. As said before, it offers a way to get to know a system, importantly, perceiving it in multiple ways. That's done by engaging different senses, which afford different forms of knowing an issue. Through sight, we can zoom in and zoom out of a system. By hearing, we can listen and encourage contemplation. And by touching, we encourage direct interaction with the system. The challenges of using this method include grappling with varying levels of comfort or discomfort in a group that's using these methods for the first time. These methods do require that people in a group are open to doing something new, and it may not lead directly into the kinds of quantitative assessments that group participants might be more familiar with. Looking forward, to develop this method further, we suggest that case studies can be used to adapt these existing sensory methods outside of SES to bring them into the space of being usable for SES work. We also find that further theoretical or practical work could be useful to help reconcile the forms of knowledge this method affords with more conventional scientific and traditional knowledge, which would also require us to broaden the definition of rigor and value in these kinds of spaces. Finally, as we look out ahead, we believe there is potential to intentionally incorporate and design spaces that encourage this kind of embodied and sensory experiences that can support true knowledge co-production through sensory methods beyond just setting the stage. Finally, we offer a collection of resources on some of the subjects we mention here, including further reading on somaesthetics, emotion, corazonar, and sentipensar. We also offer a collection of readings about embodied knowledge. Thank you for learning more about sensory methods in SES.